A crown is a circlet, an object of adoration denoting power, birthright, responsibility, legacy, and burden. William Shakespeare understood well the powerful impact of color and symbol. Focusing on royal status, William Shakespeare speaks of the vanity of life and how death is the ultimate conqueror, rendering everything powerless and meek when one comes to defeat. William Shakespeare was an English playwright, poet, and an actor, widely regarded as the greatest writer in the English language and the world's greatest dramatist. He was born on 26th April 1564 in Stratford-upon-Avon, Warwickshire. Shakespeare was the son of John Shakespeare and Mary Arden. At the age of 18, he married Anne Hathaway, with whom he had three children, Susanna and twins Hamlet and Judith. He is often called England's national poet and the Bard of Avon. His extant works, including collaborations, consist of some 39 plays, 154 sonnets, two long narrative poems, and a few other verses, some of uncertain authorship. Between 1585 and 1592, he began a successful career in London as an actor, writer, and part owner of a playing company called the Lord Chamberlain's Men, later known as the King's Men. Some of his famous plays are A Midsummer Night's Dream, The Merchant of Venice, Much Ado About Nothing, As You Like It, Twelfth Night, Hamlet, Othello, Macbeth, and many more. His plays have been translated into every major living language and are performed more often than those of any other playwright. William Shakespeare continues to be one of the most important literary figures of English language. He died on 23rd April 1616 at the age of 52. The poem The Hollow Crown is an extract from William Shakespeare's play King Richard II. The play is based on true events that occurred towards the end of the 14th century. Before we move on, let's learn the historical background of the poem. The life and death of King Richard II, commonly called Richard II, is a historical play by William Shakespeare believed to have been written in approximately 1595. It is based on the life of King Richard II of England, who was born on 6th January 1367. Richard's father, Edward, Prince of Wales, died in 1376, leaving Richard as heir apparent to his grandfather, King Edward III. Upon the death of Edward III, the 10-year-old Richard II succeeded to the throne. Richard II was a regal and stately figure, but he was wasteful in his spending habits, unwise in his choice of counselors, and detached from his country and its common people. He spent too much of his time pursuing the latest Italian fashions, spending money on his close friends, and raising taxes to fund his pet wars in Ireland and elsewhere. Richard II had a cousin named Henry Bolingbroke, who was a great favorite among the English commoners. Early in the play, Richard II exiled him from England for 6 years due to an unresolved dispute over an earlier political murder. The dead uncle, whose lands Richard II seized, was the father of Bolingbroke. When Bolingbroke learnt that Richard had stolen what should have been his inheritance, it was the straw that broke the camel's back. When Richard II unwisely departed to pursue a war in Ireland, Bolingbroke assembled an army and invaded the north coast of England in his absence. The commoners, who were fond of Bolingbroke and angry at Richard's mismanagement of the country, welcomed his invasion and joined his forces. One by one, Richard's allies in the nobility deserted him and defected to Bolingbroke's side as Bolingbroke marched through England. By the time Richard II returned from Ireland, he had already lost his grasp on his country. There was never an actual battle. Instead, Bolingbroke peacefully took Richard prisoner in Wales and brought him back to London, where Bolingbroke was crowned King Henry IV. Richard II was imprisoned in the remote castle of Pontefract in the north of England, where he was left to ruminate upon his downfall, and he died in captivity. The following extract is set in the coast of Wales. King Richard II and some of his followers awaited the arrival of Wales' army of about 10,000 warriors. But to their shock and surprise, they received the message that the army was not coming to their rescue. His followers tried to boost their king's courage against the news only in vain. When Richard came face to face with the reality of his terrible fate, he spoke the following verse, famously known as the Hollow Crown. In it, the King Richard II is reminded of the power of death that overshadows everything else, including the power of rulers, and renders them as powerless as any commoners at a moment's notice. With this short recap, let's move on to learn the summary. King Richard II was defeated by his cousin Bolingbroke. Therefore, Richard says that his lands and all properties are taken by Bolingbroke. In this critical situation, man never speaks of comforts. He talks of graves, deaths, and writings inscribed on the tombstones in memory of the dead and all other things connected with death. He thinks of his will. He wants his will to be executed, but he has no property to pass on to the next generation. He speaks of how people leave nothing behind and can call nothing their own, except for the small patch of barren land where they will be buried. He says that all his lands and lives now belong to Bolingbroke's. He yields to dejections and talks of all the different ways in which defeated kings suffer. He talks about the sad stories of all the kings who are no more now. He remembers how other kings had met with their death. He says that some were overthrown and some were killed in wars. Some were threatened by the ghosts of kings they have overthrown. Some were poisoned by their own wives, while some were killed in their sleep. All were killed only for the crown, which symbolizes power and position. The crown is empty in the middle, and this connotes that power is not solid, strong, and permanent. He says that there is always death around kings, and there is no way to escape. Death is common to all people. It neither leaves the king nor the common man. He points out that death sits within the hollow crown that sits on the head of the king. Death laughs at the king's reign and mocks his state by allowing them to think they are human flesh and live their short span of life. Death allows the king a little scene where the king shows all his power and authority. He thinks that this life is undefeatable, which is not true to the certain point. To play the role, it fears the king, fills him with useless pride, as if the flesh which covers his body is immune or proof against attack. The mortal body is impossible to pass on to next generation. As death is undefeatable and unavoidable, it comes at the end, and with little effort it kills the body and then says goodbye to the king. Death bores the head of the king with a pin, and the king's life is over. Here, the king's head is imagined to be a castle wall. Death pricks the wall, and the king dies. With dignified respect, he tells to throw away respect, tradition, form, and formal duties. He tells his followers that they have mistaken him, thought wrong about him all the time. As King Richard II is in desperate mood, he realizes that he is also a human like all others. He proves that he is like other men by saying that he also lives by bread like other men. He has his own needs and desires. He wants to have friends. He experiences happiness and unhappiness like all other men. Therefore, he asks his followers, why do they call him a king, as he too is a human being like them? So, by saying all these things, he proves that a king is also equal to other men. He concludes his speech saying that he is compelled to recognize human mortality.